And hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Talking to the Void. With me, as always, is Tier Alexander. Tier, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm pissed that I can't be a mad scientist. I gotta be a scientist first.
Well, I mean, you could go mad, but you're not doing anything to actually become a scientist. You're just expecting to go mad and then become a mad scientist.
Again, isn't that how it's supposed to work?
No, you're a
Rare,
scientist first,
in
and
in
then you
very rare
decide.
occasions, and with us always is Angela. Angela, how you doing?
I'm doing quite well, and no, it's a scientist who has become so obsessed with their work that it has driven them mad.
Ugh, I feel gypped. So, movies lied to me. They said I could be a mad scientist without being a scientist.
Or you have to go
What
mad.
movies did you watch?
Movies from top men.
Well, usually for something like that, you'd still be pursuing the education already.
Oh, I'm good. I'll stick to being just insane.
That's why I'm pretty sure, like, Polly and Quiz can understand a lot of mad scientists because they're just like, yep, that dude's got a PhD. I understand exactly why he's pissed off at the
You got a
education
PhD that you can't use.
because he's pissed off at the education system,
I understand. That's good.
which is always funny because there's just a bunch of people pissed off the education system with a lot of due reason.
That's sure. Ah, man. Are you a fan of
Hmm.
Zelda games, Rodney?
I have an appreciation for him. I haven't played anything since a couple of games on the Switch. Like I've got the I don't think that one's a Link to the Past. That one's the cuz I played the one where it's got the weird looking Link that looks like Lonk.
It
The
looks like
weird
what?
looking link. Lump.
It's supposed to be the sequel to A Link to the Past if I remember correctly.
Oh, you're talking about Link Between Worlds.
Something like that. It's where you're
That
trying
looks
to
alright.
wake up the one thing that's in the egg.
Oh, you're talking about uh when not Wind Waker, Link's Awakening.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've found this this ROM hack for Legend of Zelda Link to the Past called Infinite Dungeon of the Infinite. It's a procedural generated roguelike. It's fun as fuck.
So kind of like Johnny does.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily a randomizer. You're not playing the base game. You're playing a infinite dungeon where you're trying to get to the end of like 12 levels that randomly generate, and once you die, your save is destroyed.
I'm not the biggest one on that type of thing to where it's like, oh, all the work you put in that if you die, you lose everything.
I have an appreciation for roguelikes.
I mean, I'm not knocking anyone else from doing it. It's just not my jam.
Understandable.
Kind of like most of my friends around here and whatnot. They all play Tarkov, and I'm like, yeah, no.
If I wanted to play a shooter game, I just go out and shoot real guns.
Well, no, I don't have an issue with Tarkov in itself for them playing it. It's just I've also heard how frustrated you guys get, and I'm just as bad in a lot of things, but it's the same reason why I don't play like survival games. I have no desire to play a game that tries to keep the character alive by taking care it's like by their fucking thirst, their fucking hunger, whether or not they have like a sprained ankle or some shit. It's like I have to deal with that in real life for me. I am not dealing with that with in a
In the
fucking
video
video
game.
game.
Understandable. Like how Johnny and them like to play Phasmophobia. I'm not a big fan of it.
I don't mind Phasmo. I just haven't played in a long ass time. But Phasmo to me is one of those ones that I'd have to play in the group. That's where it's more fun.
Yeah, if I'm playing by myself, it just doesn't. Yeah, doesn't drive.
I mean, I'll still say it was worth it's the money I paid for it. It's just not a game I go to near as often.
Yeah, it's not something you play by yourself. I get it.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of people who play by themselves. Like, Expo Bahotep does, Johnny does, obviously, Della does, freaking Monkey does. Like,
Yeah,
there's a metric funk ton of people that do. It's just a game like that. It's really not my thing for single player.
I understand. Trust me. And the guy that did this Infinite Dungeon, the Dungeon of the Infinity,
Mm-hmm.
has the original music and everything. It is a Zelda lover's fucking video game.
Because that's like for some games, I still got mad respect for people that will go through and play like Legend of Zelda, doing like the 3 heart challenge.
Oh, the speed runners.
Well, no, because speedrunners can still go through and get all the upgrades and everything. No, the 3 heart challenges, they're going through and they are not getting any more than the original 3 hearts you start out with.
Oh, understandable. Is that even possible?
Yes, because Zelda games aren't like some of the action adventure ones like that, to where it forces you to take the heart. Like the heart gets put there.
Okay. So you can, if you want to, you can just ignore it.
Yes. Yes, like the only upgrades you don't get are just the heart upgrades.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Going in reverse a little bit. No, brother, that is still just you going mad. You're not actually a scientist.
You're just a science enthusiast.
Again, I stand by my comment. I want to go mad and become a mad scientist. Maybe I'll be a mad necromancer. There you go. That's even better.
Think you've already reached that.
Ah,
They're gonna be like, "What are you a scientist in?" Tears just like,
Dead.
gender.
death. The field of necrotology.
You know,
I
the
don't
hardest part
understand
isn't.
why you don't just become a Mad Hatter.
You know, the hardest part of a necromancer raising a family of 4 is when they're not buried close together.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yo, Jen. Yo, clown. Sorry I didn't say that earlier.
Hey,
God
Daddy,
damn it.
And what's up, Badger?
you identify as a Cheeto tier?
I don't identify as a Tito chair.
Tier. I said tier.
You
I
she
say
said you
chair.
identify as a Cheeto, comma, tier.
I don't identify as a Cheeto.
Hey, I just read what Jen said.
It's because Kefki has my bones, and she's hiding them in her Cheeto bag. Like, once I get my bones back, I will destroy your planet.
I just know I'm still looking forward to being done with this week.
Ah,
You can
yes.
play online games with your friends, bro, without having to play with everybody that's online.
Yeah, like that's where I'm not the biggest fan of Tarkov, because Tarkov is a lot of that. While you might be trying to play PvE, it still can be PvP. That's where like I really liked how they did. I still haven't played the first one because you don't really need to. The Borderlands series, to where you play co-op story mode,
Yeah, you can.
and
Or
you can challenge each other to a freaking PvP thing, but it's a kind of a rarity unless you go into it.
Unless that's your plan.
No, like you quite literally have to go through and do a challenge, and the person doesn't have to accept it.
Yeah.
And depending on which one you're doing, because in like 2, it's who's ever hosting it. So if you were playing Angela and you were a lower level, and I don't know if Tier has Borderlands 2, but I do.
Oh yeah, I did.
And we come in with like super powerful characters, we're just gonna mop the fucking floor with everything. Because that's the Borderlands 2
It's still
does
to your level.
no Borderlands 2 does co-opetition, not cooperation. Borderlands
Yeah.
3 does cooperation. Or you can change it to co-opetition. So like if we wanted to power level you, we could have you join one of our games with a high level character, and you just try not to die as we go through and kill shit. Kind of like they used to do back in some of the old MMOs and whatnot.
Yeah. Mitch power level my Federation character and Star Trek Online. Did it?
Okay.
No, it was saying how power level, and I'm like, yeah, he did that. I mean, great, I wasn't that low of level, but I was still pretty low level.
Yeah, like me and a friend have done that in Borderlands 3 and whatnot. When we were going over some of the DLCs back in the day and trying out different things with different characters.
Mm-hmm. I liked the second the pre-sequel a lot better than I liked the third game.
The third game has great gameplay.
Like crappy characters.
Well, it has a shit done story, or it's like a halfway decent story. The potential for a halfway decent story that they just fucking shit all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And just not really good villains. I mean, but then again, it's that whole thing after going through an entire story with Handsome Jack. That's a fucking hard villain to beat.
No, you don't see what they should have done. They shouldn't have tried to beat Handsome Jack. What they should have done was continue the setup that they were having, because it seemed like you were going to fight the various corporations. In the first game, you fought Atlas. In the second game, you fight Hyperion, which is Jack. So you should have fought another major corporation. It should have followed that through line.
I mean, you fight Malawan for a little bit.
Yeah, but you don't like the big thing isn't taking down the corporation. You don't take down the various leaders.
Yeah, but
like I said in the first one,
again with like again, I haven't played the first one, but for the second one, it's just what I mean by beating a villain like Handsome Jack is it's hard to get a character that's that fucking good again. I mean,
that charismatic,
he's charismatic. He's a lovable. It's like he's lovable, but also you're gonna hate him. And to have a villain that also believes much, but believes that he is that much also the main character and hero of the story.
Because he was. Mm-hmm. He was the hero. And we're dicks.
If you're fighting against him, does that make you the bad guy?
Oh yes, he completely believed we were the bad guy. That's why for a lot of them we were always called vault thieves.
So in theory, technically you are the villain. Jack has both the means and the motive to control the vault, the creatures that dwelled in the vault. He could have controlled them. And in the first game, he was proven right that he could.
Yes, but the thing is he wasn't doing it for benevolent reasons to try to spread peace and joy throughout the land. He was only doing things that if you didn't But if you weren't in like basically 100% agreement with them, you were to be disposed of.
By comparison to the Vault Dweller, that only like most of their motivations are to do it just because.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not necessarily saying that
Sure.
it's it's kind of that whole thing of like, in all reality, no one's really a hero.
Yeah, there's no good guys in that series. Like honestly, there are no good guys. Like it's just more. It's just shades of various shades of gray.
And
I think
horniness.
I almost made rotten choke.
Hmm?
And what did you say in horniness?
I said I think I almost made rotten choke.
I didn't hear what you said. No, because like
Never
with
mind.
Tyr saying though, the whole like different variations of gray, it's like, yeah, and then all the random horniness because of so many of them trying to bang so many of them.
Yeah, everybody wanted to fuck Moxie.
And then, you know, freaking um Lilith having her whole thing for
Rolling,
rolling.
and then him getting off, then Love getting off, which pisses
Well,
me off.
Lilith didn't get offed. Maya got offed.
You have to make sure that you enunciate properly given what you were talking about, because I'm pretty sure you're talking about somebody having been killed,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that isn't what it sounded like you said.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Well, Badger Butt Stallion wasn't really into, or wasn't shown too much other than a little bit in one soundbite. And as the princess in the
Tiny Tina's Wonder.
yeah,
Tiny
Tiny Tina's
Tina's game.
Wonderland. Yeah.
Bunkers and badasses.
Yeah.
Bunkers and badasses.
Mr. Torque wants to join. Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. They brought some of the wrong people on. It's kind of how, like, even though there is a whole bunch of shit you can critique for the first BioShock game, majority of people consider the second game the weakest, and Infinite almost as good as the first, but Infinite and BioShock were both written and done by the same guy, and BioShock 2 was done by others.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. Gameplay wise, I will forever like BioShock 2 better. I want it to be the Big Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Infinite had a great story, don't get me wrong. Multiple realities, not time travel, but interdimensional travel. Fucking amazing. BioShock had an interesting story too. What makes a man? What is a man? You know?
Except for a lot of the philosophy that they used in the game was actually wrong, apparently, from what I've heard.
They pretty much use Ayn Rand's
yeah, but they from everything I'm aware of, they like brutally fuck it up. Apparently some of the people who are like really heavy into philosophy that are pretty into games, like I guess Razor Fist is like severely ripped into it for that as well.
Well, the story that we're trying to tell is a man the sum of his parts or the sum of his experiences? Because again, he was under control, and the big reveal was, he's "would you kindly" with his trigger phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Ryan was like, a man chooses, a slave obeys, and that's why he had to die. Are you obeying me? Are you doing it because you want to do it, or are you a slave to your trigger phrase? But
mm-hmm.
Again, I like two's,
like I have
morality system.
I still have to beat him. It's just one of those things I haven't really cared near as much about for the BioShock ones.
Understandable.
And that's like, I've tried Fallout, I played Fallout 3 and just Fallout 3 did kind of the exact same thing that I had with like Skyrim
Hmm.
and well, because they're basically very similar, but also a lot of like
Well,
the
they're made by the same character
yeah,
people.
I was just but also with like the Dark Souls for that one is I just like I know people don't understand this, but I just kind of got bored. Like I'm not expecting to be told exactly what to do, but it's that until you get to a certain point, which shouldn't be the first little dungeon thing, like you should have a little bit of direction of hey, like this is where you're supposed to go.
All right, for I can explain why Dark Souls is the way it is. It is see is because you can go if you can beat a location, you can go there.
Oh yeah, it's like it's just that whole thing of what I mean. I'm not saying I didn't like the whole fact that it gave you that open ability, but there was so little of like direction of what you were supposed to do. It's basically
Uh-huh.
like you wake up, get out of the dungeon, and then just straight fuck off.
Yeah.
Plus, the controls of the first game, well, of the first Dark Souls game, are partially broken, which is a valid criticism.
I'm not saying nothing about it. I completely agree. That's why
Yeah,
I never beat the first one, but I beat the third one because I like Bloodborne and it
it's like
had Bloodborne's control scheme.
I played Demon Souls and I had fucking fun with that one.
I played Demon. I got to the first boss of Demon Souls,
Oh,
and
dude,
I like it.
we were trying
Uh,
so hard. Me and a buddy of mine back in the military when he had picked it up by just purely by a happenstance to the first boss that's actually supposed to kill you. We had
mhm,
come so close to actually beating him.
mhm.
It's just like son of a bitch.
I remember getting to the phalanx and like, all right, I can do this. And then I got to that giant, the guardian of the bridge, the
Oh,
walking, yeah, like fuck
well,
this game.
well, at the bridge, you had to frickin', run and do the fucking one things with the dragon breathing fire. And then you had Giant Shield Boy at the end of it, and that was a long ass fight.
And that's probably why I said fuck that game.
Uh, that fight for me was so much of like run up the let's like run down the stairs to draw him out, run back up the stairs, run along the freaking outside of the wall, run back down the other side of the stairs, attack the back of his feet, run back up the same stairs that you came down as he turns around to lure him that way to continuously do that.
I agree with both Green Badger and Clown. Clown says Bethesda games had is basically just before if left is too hard, go right, and then go back and then circle back to left after you then after right becomes too easy.
Oh yeah.
And then Green says yes, two had better gameplay. Story was okay, but three's I like three's story better with the interdimensional travel. One was okay, was basic.
I mean that's
And then there's go ahead.
as I said, that's always been the easiest way to kind of give the players freedom, but also make show them where they're not supposed to be going at that time frame of by having higher level characters
Oh yeah.
or enemies, not characters.
But again, that it is possible that you can beat a level you're not supposed to be in with patience. Like you can take in three, you could take down a Death Club level 5. It's fucking hard to do, but it's possible. It requires some manipulation. Like, but it is very much possible.
But like I said, it's just one of those things that those are just games I never really got into near as much. Like
Okay.
Skyrim, I don't know what it is. Like that, I love the fact that they're made. I love the fact that they are loved by so many. I'm just like they're just not for me. Like I understand them way better than like majority of the modern sports games. Like the only sports games I don't hate that come out like damn near yearly are the fucking wrestling ones.
Yeah, and I'm a big wrestling fan.
Oh,
I'm not even a
so is
big
my
wrestling
brother.
fan. I just love the fact
Mm.
they do that you can create your own characters and everything. And oh god, I think there's like entire YouTube channels dedicated to like making characters from other TV shows or video games to have them face off in a wrestling match. Like I've seen someone make Hank Hill.
I cook. I use propane and propane accessories.
Um, yeah, like I've even seen him before the dude revealed himself of what he looked like. Someone make the little avatar thing from what Spirit Science used, and then have
Hmm.
him go up against a bunch of different wrestlers only to get his ass kicked.
Well, imagine so. Spirit Science had a face reveal.
Yeah,
I bet you he looks mousy.
kind of. He's a pretty scrawny dude. Last I saw.
Ah,
I don't
no
know.
one will ever see my face.
You've already showed your face.
You don't know what I look like. That's not me. I'm actually a white dude.
You just got some other black guy who just stays on standby for like a couple bucks a month.
Hmm.
Wow.
I'm actually a white dude from Saskatchewan. I'm actually Canadian.
From Saskatchewan.
If you were Canadian, you would be able to pronounce Saskatchewan.
I did. I said Saskatchewan.
You just said Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
Saskatchewan. I was drinking something. I'm from Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah, that's what I said. Toronto.
No, most recently for me, I've
Wow.
been playing a lot of the Resident Evil games again. Besides my one game with like dailies and shit.
I need to. I've been not tomorrow. Tuesday. DLC. Yeah, see, I'm a 6'5" Vietnamese guy. Yep. Mm-hmm. Green. I've shown green my face, I think. Yeah, I usually fill my roster with I like to do the showcase mode or the universe mode where you have your own show.
Oh,
And
that's why
I
I
will
said
fill that shit with all
don't
kinds of stuff.
get me wrong. The fucking wrestling games are always fun and are always interesting. That's why, like I said, at least they're a bit funner than typically when you're looking at like baseball, football, basketball, soccer. Because those are
Yeah.
typically the same game every year. Like at least for some of them back in the day, you used to be able to like create a special character that you could like end up maxing out stats, and you were just having fun with that one. It's
Shit, I
just got
might
Black
pick it up.
Maze or Blasian.
I'm blazing. Actually, I might have to pick up the 2024. It's pretty cheap. It's only $30.
I haven't bought a new game in a while. I can't remember the last new game I actually bought.
Let's see.
Um,
Let me go to my
I know I
site
bought the
and see
Resident
if they
Evil
got
4
that.
remake, which is okay. I think the last games I bought was when I went through and got all of the Kingdom Hearts you could get on Steam currently.
When you walk away, you don't hear me say.
Damn, look at that ass move. Oh.
Wow.
I guess you didn't hear me say that.
Yeah, because basically since the one Bleach game I play that's actually a mobile game that is also on Steam somehow,
Yeah, I see you playing that all the time.
Yep, because it's got its dailies and everything.
What? They
I
came out
still
with a
have
new
a
DLC?
whole bunch of ones I have to play. Because like I've played Stick of Truth, I still have to beat South Park: The Fractured Butthole.
Yeah.
The Fractured Butthole was fun. I disliked the new one they came out with.
I only have the first two of Fractured Butthole and Stick of Truth.
It's one they came out with. I can't remember the name of it.
And no,
That's
Mr.
a cool
Scott,
one.
I haven't done just a stream where I just talk about guns because I haven't had anyone on there I could just talk about guns with. It's no offense to these guys as well. It's just
We're gun dyslexic.
they don't have that knowledge that I do. Like I'd love to have like Polly on here or is it Unholy Reaper? I think is in, or a few others that have been in that are in like Sinatra's Discord that are very very knowledgeable about guns as well. And maybe one day I'll get to have them on here.
One day.
Eh, we'll see. That's why, like I said, I'm gonna be trying to do may try to do a stream not this week but the following week on Tuesday. But we're gonna see how well I am after having a dental implant.
I hope everything goes well, my friend.
Oh, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure everything's gonna go well. It's just gonna be that whole thing of like, I don't know how fucked up I'm gonna be.
Uh, and I mean that with sincerity.
Because like the dentist I'm going through right now, just they seem to be pretty fucking on the ball for everything.
That's good. Oh, sorry to hijack your stream for a second. Uh, if y'all don't, can I show the the Kickstarter for
Oh, never.
Never Hike Alone?
Yeah.
All right, so uh, I will post it in chat in a little bit, but there is a Kickstarter for the movie Never Hike Alone, the final cut. And if you do watch Never Watch Alone, you will know that the stream lore is that we started that stream because of Never Hike Alone. I never saw it. And this one is supposed to be longer with more shit. And it's supposed to be like the third, I want to say the third movie in that series. So, and it's in Kickstarter, like $3.
It de-
Which that
I was gonna say it depends on how you look at it because I I think it was Never Hike Alone 2. There was actually two movies that were
like smushed together, yeah.
together to make them
No,
longer.
it was the first one. First one was Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the
And
Snow.
Never Hike in the Snow.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it was Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow, but I couldn't remember
Yeah.
if it was Never Hike Alone.
Well, no, wait a minute. I take it back because Never Hike Alone, the first one was 3 movies. It was, remember, he kills the guy,
I don't
the
know. I haven't
criminals.
seen it.
Oh no, he kills the criminals. He does the boy in the snow where shoots him with the arrow, and then
I'll be back in a moment.
he almost escapes the hiker that takes him back to Crystal Lake.
You do realize that I believe Rotten has said 3 times that he hasn't seen it yet?
No, I was talking to you.
Yes, on Rotten's show. What if he wanted to watch it?
I mean, it's free. I mean, if I'm giving him spoilers, he could say, "Justin, shut the fuck up."
You've talked over him 4 times.
Oh, I'm sorry. why you busting my balls? Why are you busting my balls?
I just feel like that was kind of mean to Rotten on his own show.
What?
Never
I
mind.
I had to step away for a second.
Now,
Okay, maybe that's what he was saying then. Never mind.
if I'll stop talking about it then. I'm sorry, I don't want to.
No, I stepped away because I had to use the restroom real quick.
Okay. We weren't sure if you had watched the show. or
No,
not.
the only ones for the Never Watch Alone I've watched, the ones I've been able to be a part of, because I'm at work, so I can't even pay the slightest of attention to those.
And you're not a check it out later kind of person?
For that one, not too much currently.
It would make sense because the joy of it is like being there and talking the shit, and
Yeah.
like if you were going to do that, you just might as well just go watch it without our colorful commentary. And I'll put the link in chat for anybody that want to, kick in a few bucks. Yo, Mr. Scott. Did it kick me?
No.
Oh.
No.
Nah, because it went silent for a second, and you know how
Yeah.
my setup does. And now did I get pissed?
The
And I
ice
thought
in
I
your
said,
veins, that's the fear that you've been booted from the stream.
no, not booted. Like, you know how Discord just crashed out on me?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for some people it can kind of fuck up, and sometimes you can have too much stuff open to where it wants to lag.
Discord sucks like that.
Discord's not bad. They keep trying to add dumb shit to it that it doesn't need.
Yeah, like it doesn't need a goddamn paid subscription.
There's a paid subscription.
Well, you can do the Nitro boost. There's also the whole
Oh,
they were trying to do like some game, like promotion of gaming things or whatnot, and it's just like, no, I don't want to see any of that shit.
Yeah, like I don't come to I don't come to Discord to you to show shit to me. Like, fuck off.
well, they have to try to get money somehow.
Understandable, but still.
Well, it's that whole thing to where they'll be working good for a while, and then some dumb shit happens that it's like that their product was being used, but they're not directly liable for or anything. But because of that, they fucking go dumb shit stupid and like, oh, we got to make a correction now. And it's like, no, the fuck you don't, retard.
Yeah.
Like, we already know you're listening on people's conversations and monitoring each and every Discord, even ones that are meant to be private and whatnot. So,
Oh Lord.
yeah, I've still got a metric fuck ton of games though I've got to beat.
I play a lot of strategy games.
What are
I'll never
strategy?
beat them. Strategy. Grand strategy.
I was gonna say, what the heck is strategy games? What?
Well, I heard
Sorry,
him say strategy.
Yes, strategy. Don't try to fix my addiction.
I mean, I even still have PS1 games that I own and haven't beaten.
Mm.
Your addiction needs an intervention here.
But it doesn't help as well because I'll still check Epic, and I know Epic isn't the greatest freaking thing for games and everything, but it's not terrible. It's definitely not as good as Steam. And I know once what's his name, it's like the head of Steam and everything passes
Gabe
on.
Newell.
Yeah, Gabe Newell. Oh, dude, they're probably gonna fuck up Steam so goddamn hard.
They probably are, but until then. Right, until then, Gabe Newell are probably the reason fucking Half-Life 3 and fucking Left 4 Dead 3. Hello?
I've only played a
Yeah,
little bit of one of the the Left 4 Dead games. I've only seen bits and pieces of Half-Life. Never actually played it.
Okay.
It's got pretty interesting lore from what I've seen of it, though. And the one thing I do find hysterical is like apparently it's also for a lot of the game models for the guns they use a lot of H&K, and it's like, yeah, it's not too surprising. You know, alien invasion and H&K uses that as a way to get a government contract for their firearms.
Mhm.
That fucking tracks. Let's go back to Twitter, see if I have anything there in my bookmarks we could talk about.
Mhm.
Unless y'all got something else you want to bring up.
No, not really.
So did any of you guys see the thing when Nagoon had to quote tweet? Because apparently there's going to be a series about the life of Jesus Christ called The Chosen.
It's
Okay.
already a thing. I've watched seasons 1 through 3 3 times already, and I'm watching through one more time because
Oh, I
I'm
have
gonna
I have nothing
be able
against
to
it.
watch
I just
season
love
4.
that Wendigoon quote tweeted it going, "You've passed your voice." You know, a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen in the Jesus Christ cinematic universe. The JCC, as my beautiful wife Amber calls it. But I'm here to tell
Mhm.
you that we're already living it. Amen. If you'll turn your Bibles with me to Ephesians 8. Yeah,
Ecclesiastes.
Ephesians 6. Like
Mhm.
just that youth pastor voice. It's like, oh my god, fucking Wendigoon. I love that man.
I
Mhm.
I will admit he's great. I did see that. I wasn't sure what you were gonna bring up. But yeah, it's actually a good show.
Oh yeah, and then I was actually kind of surprised that for Tragic's video that he had comments disabled.
Are you talking about
His
his
one,
camera video?
yeah,
It,
it's a good
for
video
some
though.
of them, it is. For some of them, he probably didn't change the settings because I know for a while I have to go in literally every time that I start a stream and change like the filter settings
Mm-hmm.
to like 0 because I don't get to hold comments or view comments. Why?
Oh, here we go. Since we were talking games, have you basically seen the thing how there's a lot of people now trying to claim that like was it Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre was actually supposed to be like a woman game and not meant for guys?
It was supposed to be a pro woman game with a teenage cheerleader scantily clad killing zombies. Fuck off.
With her boyfriend's severed head attached to her side.
That to her
Or
side in a certain
yeah.
position. Hmm.
Well, it's like everything I keep seeing is like they have that whole thing of like it always starts like this is gross objectification or objectification. It's for incels. Actually, it's fun. Let us enjoy it too, incel. Actually, it's for the girlies. This always belonged to us. You are the invaders. Like
You
they
know
pulled
what?
that shit with Bayonetta. They pulled that shit with freaking Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre. They pulled it with like Tomb Raider, fucking
And look how Tomb Raider's doing.
Really quick, did you just say Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre?
yes.
Yeah, that's the name of the game.
Oh,
What's wrong?
nothing.
It's
Nothing.
literally the name of the game.
I didn't say that I doubted you. I just wanted to make sure that I heard you correctly.
Angela's just like they called it what? Like I'm so confused.
I don't understand why would they call it that.
Though I'm pretty sure I have every inkling of why they called it that.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like I said, they did the same thing with like Bayonetta because of it being very similar and done. I want to say by the same guy who did freaking
Devil May Cry.
yeah, Devil May Cry. Oh my god!
Originally,
Do you see they're doing a new fucking Devil May Cry anime?
I know. Originally, it was supposed to be a Devil May Cry sequel, and they made it its own game. As a matter of fact, Devil May Cry itself was supposed to be a Resident Evil sequel.
Yeah,
they made it its own game. You know, so and that's why she has Ebony and Ivory in the first Devil May Cry, using them to fight, and she goes, maybe next time." But yeah, it was supposed to be that. But again, this is a scantily clad woman who's her body, her clothing is her hair, and when she summons her ultimate attacks, she basically gets fucking naked.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally
Well,
for
you
women.
just said that her clothing is her hair.
Yeah. Well, because she's a witch.
So she's a witch. So when she summons when she does her magic, it's a portal through her hair. So she turns like her hair into a giant fucking hand or a giant boot and punches shit, or she'll
or
summon
a fucking demon head.
A demon head, or summon a giant demon dragon while she's fucking naked, basically, and to attack angels and shit.
Well, shit. I mean, I know I've seen some of the thing of how like I want to say I've seen it where they've tried to be like, oh no, Nier Automata was always for the girlies, and it's like, dude, I specifically remember them being like, oh, all they want to look at is freaking B2's ass.
Which you can't.
Yes, you can.
She kick whenever you try to look under her dress. She hides and she will kick the camera. You actually managed to do it.
Well, and that it all depends on the outfit she's wearing as well.
But yeah, that does depend on the outfit. But if she's wearing like her basic uniform, she will kick the camera, and she will call you a perv.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say like Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre was supposed to be more of like a hack and slash. So it'd be closer to like not quite Bayonetta, but more like probably closer to like Onechambara. That's a weird
like
fucking game.
Yeah, that's perfect. It plays like Dead Rising Sister, and the chainsaw was a nod to Ash and Evil Dead. Yeah,
because you're killing zombies.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Sounds like it'd be fun to watch.
It's fun to watch and play. It's just stupid.
Oh yeah, it's one of those games. It's not meant to have this like huge in-depth storyline. It's meant to be like, hey, I wonder if we can do this and make a game out of it. It's kind of like some of the old movies back in the like 80s and 90s, like, oh, I don't know, Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, just the dumb shit. Like, hey,
Oh no,
we have this animatronic. Let's
no,
make
no,
a
no, no, no.
movie about it.
Surf Ninjas was an actual thing that starred Leslie Nielsen as the villain, Tone Loc, Ernie Reyes Jr., Ernie Reyes Sr., and Rob Schneider.
Rob
Yeah,
Schneider.
no,
Oh, this was back in the day before Schneider was super big or bigger.
I've seen it.
Oh, I used to own it, or I still do. It's a dumb fun movie.
Yes, it is.
Brothers don't surf.
Oh, Rob Schneider
Oh no,
is a human stapler.
the other fun part is like that one is just like, how'd you get out of your handcuffs? We searched you. I swallowed the key last Tuesday. How'd you know you're going to be in handcuffs? Swallow the key every Tuesday.
Nice.
Slumber Party Massacre. Another
Beach
classic.
blanket Ebola. I love beach blanket Ebola.
I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen beach blanket Ebola?
No.
Granted, it's a fictional movie. It's a fictional movie inside of another movie.
What's up, Mitch?
Hey, Mitch.
And I'm
Yo,
still
Mitch.
tempted to do the Dead. I think I'm going to do Dead 7 next week. And we'll do the ending of September with a, in my opinion, so bad it's good zombie movie.
Right.
Tier, I love when you like fixate on a word or phrase because you speak normally and then when you hit that word or phrase, suddenly it's like not necessarily like you're yelling, but you put so much emphasis on it. Kind
Which
of
one I
like
put
when you
emphasis
say,
on?
"Oh, beach blanket Ebola."
Which part did I put the emphasis on?
The whole thing.
Oh. I don't hear it.
Specifically in the case of Ebola, specifically the B in the Ebola. But
Beach blanket Ebola.
so it's like beach blanket Ebola. I'm going, dude.
I mean, you
get
called me out for saying Jew yesterday.
Every time you say Jew, you say it's super emphatic too.
Because I told you, like, I have a friend that whenever we see each other, we scream out,
Yes, but
Jew.
that's one of those things where it's like, you know that there's the intention of it. You wouldn't think that would cause a specific thing to happen on that.
That's true.
It was just one of those I just noticed, like, it became very apparent when you said it so many times in a row.
Oh, and apparently I had it wrong.
It's a weird
Apparently it
tourism.
is just Lollipop Chainsaw, but it's usually Lollipop Chainsaw Repop.
Lollipop Chainsaw what?
Repop.
Repop.
I could have swore there was
Repop?
the name Massacre in there.
Huh.
Apparently I was wrong. That happens.
It's all good.
But yeah, it's just one of those things that I did not notice until you said it so many times.
I guess we'll call it a tourism.
In such a short amount of time.
If you're wanting to jump in, Mitch, you're more than welcome to. But Jesus Christ. Oh, it's only 10% off? Hella gay. The Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. Like, it's on sale for 10% off, so it's $40.49. It's like, I'll wait. I mean, apparently it's more of a remaster.
Oh.
Remasters lately have
Uh-oh.
been pissing me off.
It sounds like Midge has some stuff on his mind.
From the whole thing of it, like quite literally, it seems like all they did for a remaster was update the graphics.
Oh, okay. Thank God, because a lot of remasters have been altering story content and not for the good. Like, have you heard about Dead Rising, the remaster? It changed a lot of good shit that never should have been changed.
Oh, they do that shit fucking constantly. They did the
No,
same
no,
thing
no.
with fucking Dead Space.
No. They turned an Asian character who was portrayed as this yokel with buck teeth, missing teeth, into a white guy. Uh, there's a guy who was fighting in the Vietnam, and he goes crazy, and they change his line from like calling Frank West a damn commie to a mole.
Hey,
Yo,
Mitch.
bitch.
I've made it.
and and then they also changed there was a character who took a sexy photo and they changed it to a funny photo.
So it's
Yeah.
like the sudden emphasis in the Oregon Trail about how cruel the white man was to the Native American and how guns
Yeah.
are bad because they'll go off magically in your wagon and shoot your party.
They're
Yeah.
magically delicious.
So yeah, they altered a whole lot of shit and people are not happy.
When are they
Oh,
gonna
they
learn?
and they took out so in the original game you could take erotic photos, which were like you could take pictures of someone's tits, and it's not like actual tits, but like down their dress or whatnot, you would get points for being an erotic photo. They took that out. You can't take pictures like that anymore. Like, so
Well, yeah,
they took
because heaven forbid we have people be slightly perverted from time to time.
Is it perverted though?
It's not.
I mean, where does perversion start?
I
What
don't
line
find
must be
it
crossed?
as a pervert.
Because
Well, I mean,
But
I'm going to put it in this one. It's
we
like,
used to have something in this country called a sex maniac. And
Well,
it was a catch-all phrase,
what
really.
I was going to say in that one is it's like, what we're also talking about a game to where, you know, you will quite literally hack the limbs off the living dead
Yeah.
and eviscerate people. And it's like, I really don't care if they want to have someone in scantily clad clothes, or let you
Right,
take
they're
a
gonna- they're
picture
gonna-
of someone in a scantily clad way or some shit.
We've got various stages of evisceration, dismemberment, and decapitation. We're gonna sweat it over a little cleavage.
pretty much, and that's what they're doing. That like you can't. They took that out, that entire mechanic out. You know, but I can still, hack and slash and blood and gore everywhere.
Yeah.
But taking a picture of a living woman's, again, it's not like you remove the clothes or anything. All you can really take is pictures of tits, and they're fully clothed. You just got the angle where you can see down like her shirt or
Yeah.
whatever type
Yeah.
of
Cleavage.
blouse. Yeah, it's just cleave. Honestly, it's just cleavage shots. And on a rare occasions, if you really time it well, you can get a panty shot. It's rare. It is literally rare, and those are worth more points because they're so fucking rare. But yes, it is the over what's the word I'm looking for?
Pussification.
Yes.
That's my
The
personal opinion.
pussification of the male species.
Well,
Yes.
just of so many things in that as well, because it's always the whole thing of they're like, we need to update this for a modern audience because it's like, stop doing that shit. Like you just saw how bad Concord failed, and quite literally with how much Sony put into Concord, they could have remastered like fucking 8 or 9 dozen games, and I do mean from what I've seen, like dozen games, and probably had the entire crew doing cocaine the entire time.
I mean, they spent what, 400 million on Concord?
Yes.
They spent way more
They
than
they
they should
spent
have.
they spent a they spent a fucking metric ton of money on Concord. It took them 10 years to make Concord, 10 years plus 400 million is paid by Sony, not to mention the previous owner, how much they initially paid. That's not included. They're not included in that total. So it's very much possible they paid at least 5.
See, it's insane because with that kind of money, you can make a fuckload of smaller investments and have a huge return on investment.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, hell,
It's like when I well, I can't remember the budget for a certain horror film. It was one of the major franchises. It was either that Friday the 13th remake or one of the David Gordon Green so-called trilogy. Don't get me started of Halloween, but I believe one of them cost in the neighborhood of $20 million, and that's way too much for that kind of a horror film.
mm-hmm.
Because where you're spending that money is not on a good story. It's not on anything that matters. It's on, ooh, look at the effects we can do, and hey, look who we got to be in our movie.
I was gonna say it's the effects and the name of the person.
Right. It's because that, hey, we got Jamie Lee Curtis back. We don't need Jamie Lee Curtis for a good Halloween movie. In fact, it would be better if we didn't have her. Believe me.
Yes.
At this point, yes. Which just makes me sad to say.
She's old and washed out.
What I'm getting at is let me go do a real tiny bit of research here while I'm discussing this, because where I've looked at knowing the budget for Womp Stomp Films, Friday the 13th fan films. I'm just going to do the sequel, Never Hike Alone 2. Let's see. Because look, there's a getting back to that return on investment thing.
Well, I was gonna say, while you're looking that up, I was gonna say it's like, and even when you look at the whole thing of being able to plausibly take those pictures in something like Dead Rising, it's not like that was the forefront of what was being pushed.
Yes.
Right.
So it's like removing it from the game when most people probably didn't even realize it was in there.
No, you realize them in there because there were achievements you could get.
Well, that's the thing is, like, and except for people that we're going to go through and look at all the achievements and everything, there are people that are going to go and play those games purely as a casual player.
Well,
Oh yeah. So right now, Never Hike Alone 2, it's just under a year. It's 11 months that it was released. 4.8 million views.
Okay.
Oh, I can't believe I just used a decimal like that. That's wrong. Damn it, I did it again. 4.8 million times. What's the average movie ticket price these days?
$10 to $12, I think.
Let's say $11.
I have no idea. I haven't been in the movies, I think, since like 2017.
Let's multiply 4.8 million times 11 for a total of $52,800,000 is what the box office would be.
You got to subtract at least.
Hold on. The budget for this film was $350,000, and I'm estimating up.
Okay. Well, they made their money back. If you subtract,
no, they don't make money on it because it's a fan film.
well, no.
My point is, as a feature presentation, this would have made fucking bank.
Yes.
It's a solid return on investment, and right now, it's for Friday the 13th. The way the licensing is being handled, this is going to be the only stuff we're going to get is fan films, and it's a waste of money for Paramount or New Line or whoever's holding the license at the moment. It's a waste of money for them to spend more than, say, $3 million on such a film. If a fan production could get this done for $300,000 with that kind of return on investment, holy shit! Because return on investment for films to be a success, you want about 3 times the budget. So it would be about $1 million would have been the success point. If they made $1 million, they would have made 52, almost 53 million. Now you apply the same kind of thing to the video games, and you've got the same problem. They're investing way too much money in the wrong areas of gameplay.
Well, not even that. It's that they got too many activists making games and instead of listening to the fans, they're listening to critics telling them what fans want instead of actually going to the fans and say, "Hey, what do you want?"
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wanted Dustborn. Like nobody fucking wanted Dustborn. Dustborn, nobody wanted. Nobody wants DEI, the video game.
No.
You know,
Nobody wants that. You don't put the cartridge in the NES to get screamed at by a bunch of fucking harpies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't do it for. I don't want to be lectured while I'm trying to play a video game.
Right. It's just I just want the fucking costumes to stop clipping.
Yeah. You know,
I want the gameplay. The part where the game part of a game. God forbid we start paying any attention.
So that's
to
like
that.
where we were kind of having a bit of the argument in a way with what when James brought it up for like of women invading and whatnot, and Kiever Dam being like, "Oh, so I'll just be friends with women. I want to make sure I'm not invading." And I'm pretty sure she's just being a sarcastic troll. I really hope. And that whole thing,
so.
But it's like, that's the thing though, is like, Key's not one that I've seen that would go in, like, goes in and tries to join a fandom and not become a part of the fandom, but instead to be the one who goes into a fandom and is like, well, this needs to change and this needs to change.
Yeah, like we brought up Warhammer last night, and Warhammer is a bloody, gory game. The point of Warhammer is that you live in a shitty fucking universe, and everything in this damn thing is fucking trying to kill you, and you got to kill it before it kills you. There are literally no good guys in this game. Even the human faction will admit they exterminate whole planets with the single whiff of heresy on it. They will just destroy it outright. Hey,
and just to clarify, that came up because apparently somebody turned around, some chick turned around and went, "I would really love Warhammer."
Oh, you want to know the really fucked up part about that?
No war.
Angela, if I remember correctly, the person that I saw say that wasn't even technically a woman; it was a trans woman.
Oh.
So in other words, it was an outsider who I want the world to be fluffy kittens and happy bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
Go create fluffy bunny and happy kitten world, for fuck's sake.
Yes, it's like when the people try to add like furries to Warhammer and shit. No,
yeah, knock that shit
well,
off. It's not.
It also falls into this because I can't.
They wouldn't fly in the fucking Warhammer.
Hold on.
Why? Because they got shit to do.
Tier.
Motherfuckers is trying to. Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
I was gonna say it also goes to that whole thing of like Adam said, it's like, if you want to make your own game of this and do your own thing of it, that's fine. And it's like all of us were like, yeah, that's the whole thing. The problem is that's not what they're doing. They're pushing too much for having everyone else having to play that way as well. If someone wants to make their own headcanon of having fucking female space marines or having a goddamn furry emperor, I don't give a shit as long as it's there, as long as they're not trying to push it to make it actual canon. And that's been one of the biggest problems is they're trying to push headcanon to actual canon. So they're trying to push fandom to canon.
Well, basically they're trying to push slash fiction into canon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they did with Star Trek and Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And Doctor Who.
So everything that's not good in.
Yes.
But then it's the people that are always trying to push for that. They're not buying the fucking stuff anyways.
Nope.
Well, they're not buying it, and it's not like they're not putting in the effort to actually make it
Fun.
good within the world that they're trying to add it into either.
Right.
Yes.
They aren't making. Mitch hates when I put things this way, but they aren't making stories. They're making. They're putting things into a world without bothering to incorporate them into that world.
Yes. Why do I hate it when you put it that way?
Because I put it, I super simplify it and say they don't give them a story.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't tell a story. They don't.
I want to make sure why I hate something.
Huh?
I'm just trying to make sure why I hate something.
You just don't like that I oversimplify things.
When have I ever said that?
The last time when I tried to say it,
I mean,
basically on Wednesday or Thursday. you
was
said
it oversimplifying a complicated issue, or if it's Thursday, it's a movie thing?
It was a
Yeah.
movie.
I mean, because I believe that brevity is the soul of wit, and it doesn't just apply to things being funny.
Yeah, but occasionally I simplify things to the point where you feel that I've left out actual important information.
Oh, well, that might be, yeah. I could see me doing that. But ultimately, these are entertainment properties, and their goal should be to entertain,
Not preach.
especially
Yeah.
within the medium they've chosen.
Well, it's like whenever it goes in the whole thing of they'll say like, or it's like they'll bring up comic books and be like, well, if you don't understand that X-Men was originally about like civil rights, that you don't understand
No, it
X-Men.
wasn't.
And it's like, well, it was about the, or not civil rights, but racism or whatnot. And it's like, well, you could put that in there and everything, but you also have to understand that for so many of these things as well, it wasn't beating you over the head with it.
All right. Really quickly. No, it
The
wasn't.
X-Men was
X-
about civil rights. It's just
No,
about,
it wasn't.
It was.
Okay, go
Stan
ahead.
Lee said he did. Stan Lee said he didn't. When him and Jack were creating the X-Men, they did not make it about the civil rights. It wasn't an allegory for anything. They just thought what if it was cool that they had these powers, but they had to go through some turmoil. That's all. Like, he never said it was about civil rights. This is from their creator. Now, what people read into it is different.
No, I
You can
think I think there may be a misunderstanding happening here, because the civil rights movement was a secondary thing. Racism, I believe, was a more prevalent idea, but they weren't saying it's an allegory. They were saying we took concepts from the issues of racism and made them into elements of our comic. That's not making it an allegory necessarily.
Yeah, but like I said, what people read
But
into it is different than that.
It is using the civil rights era as a sort of blueprint for the stories they were telling.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm hearing crickets.
You're hearing crickets?
Yeah, I don't know if it's here or somewhere else, or if it's over the street.
I have no idea.
I don't. Crickets aren't an issue. If you're hearing cars going by, that's me.
Okay, then it's got to be.
Johnny Hellcat says there's no such thing as the modern audience, just the audience and
Yeah.
the budget of Suicide Squad killed WB Games. Yes,
Yeah,
it literally killed Rockstar.
Well,
and
that
WB.
one wasn't Johnny. That one was Clown. If you're gonna read
No,
out of
no,
chat,
I
at
would
least
That's my brother.
I say at least make. Well, no, that's what I say. If you're gonna read from chat, though, you say Johnny and then say the thing and then go to the next one. It's like, dude, at least credit who's saying it.
My bad. I was just reading the two chats that popped up, and
It's
Oh,
but see again, that's because they I bring it up about Star Trek Online all the time. The
Mhm.
last creative director, whatever the fuck that title is, um, was so horny to get the uh, the stars of the show into the recording booth to do voice work, so he could meet them more than anything else. So he could be just a self-stroking fanboy.
Mhm.
Um, that it ruined the gameplay and took away from the budget for more important things. And some of the shit material we're dealing with now is the last leavings of his, because he's left the game since. And he left the game last or before summer. So the stuff
Hallelujah.
that's in development that we're getting now is still his work, if you know what I mean. Because that's how long it takes to develop stuff for a MMO. But if they'd stop stunt casting, they could spend that budget on fixing broken shit and actually delivering more than half a story every 6 months.
Yeah, give us more content.
Yes, and make it about the gameplay. And you know what? I think for games mostly, I think most games should avoid big Hollywood names for voice work. I think it should be I think games should be kind of a starting point
yeah.
for someone who wants to get into the industry.
Makes sense.
I think that would actually be a really good
Well, it's one of those things like
like
you could still have some
format.
from the actual not Hollywood itself, but like a little more well knowns from the voice acting community and that whole
Yes,
thing, but definitely still use that as a thing for
as a springboard.
yeah, as a springboard.
Yes.
Like it might be a great get to have say Bruce Campbell in your first film when you're doing an indie film. He likes to do indie films anyway.
Yeah.
But when you're doing an indie film and you can meet his price and do all the Screen Actors Guild shit necessary, et cetera,
Mhm.
and pay all the insurance, if you can get Bruce Campbell, that's fantastic for your movie. But Bruce Campbell alone cannot be your movie.
Oh yeah, well that was
Yes.
also one of the things that like Bruce Willis did before his illness really took hold. He was doing a whole bunch of things for like indie movies and whatnot. He wasn't even playing major roles, wasn't even accepting a fuck ton of money. He was like, no, I want them to be able to get it. And if I'm in the movie, they're more likely to get funding for it. So
Yep.
I get to have a little bit of fun. He's like, I get to have a little bit of fun, make a little bit of money. And he's like, and get to push forward these, these newer actors, newer directors, newer writers,
Right.
so they can actually get a start.
Yeah, but he, like you said, he's taken a bit part.
Yeah.
He's taken a part that's just big enough to be to say starring Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm.
But not starring Bruce Willis.
And it's just big enough to put him on the poster.
Yeah, it's just big enough to say this is the stars Bruce Willis, not Bruce Willis stars in.
Right. Whereas the scenario I spun, Bruce Campbell's a part is your main character, basically.
Yeah.
He's in the whole movie. And that's a different thing. Bruce Campbell would pop in, I'm sure. And be like,
I mean,
yeah,
even if Bruce Campbell is in the whole movie, like you don't have to have him be like your main character.
right.
I mean, for fuck's sake, you could even make him like your main villain.
Make him what?
Like one that your main villain if you plan on like having a series
Oh,
of it,
yeah.
but like one of the villains, like one of like the high ranking of the villains. So it's like he would still be killed off and that whole thing, but he's got reason to be in there.
Right. But
And
the chaos agency that spawned him would still exist, for example. Just in case your film was successful.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a simple thing, man. They've chosen to overcomplicate these things to the point where I mean, what's his name? Matt? Not Matt. Fucking Marky Mark. What's Mark Wahlberg?
Mark
Mhm.
Wahlberg.
he's working now to create a film industry in Las Vegas
to get away from
to
Hollywood.
get away from California and Hollywood for one, but because Hollywood is
Successful.
it's a fucking mess right now.
Yeah.
It's like our legal system. They just keep adding stuff and never getting rid of anything. So
Well,
it's
yeah, because they center everything there, even though most of the filming and everything else that's done isn't done anywhere near California.
yeah, in Bulgaria for fuck's
Well,
sake.
Well, I mean, majority of like
Also, he-
Supernatural was filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
But go ahead,
well,
Angela.
also Mark Wahlberg found God and needs to get out of the cesspool, kitty diddling den that is Hollywood.
Yes.
And also
I
wants in,
approve of that idea.
But I've been saying it for years. Hollywood, we need to build another Hollywood so that there's competition. We need to build another filmmaking industry that is not getting raped by the Writers Guild of America, Screen Actors Guild, and all of that shit. We need to create competition.
Before the pandemic, they actually were starting to make headway with that in Georgia.
Well, yeah, we actually there's this bothers me. There's a lot of this is going to make me sound like a prick, and I don't care. There's a lot
It
of
won't be the first
Christian,
time.
there's a lot of Christian filmmakers who are stepping in. They're doing some pretty good work. Antonio Sabato Jr. has his own production company. Kevin Sorbo and his wife have
Mhm.
their own, and they're making films. Scott Baio was just in a another one of the God's Not Dead movies. Now,
Shit, you got
I
the
don't-
Daily Wire guys.
yes.
You know,
Now, I
making
don't
their shit.
begrudge any of these people any success. I want them to be successful. My problem arises when all they can do is God content.
Mhm.
They need to step into some stuff where they can make some money, because that's what's gonna, you do the thing that makes you the money, and then you do your project. You do your, I hate to say it this way, but pet project movie.
And but that's what it is. It's literally a prep project movie. It's you do the moneymaker, you make the money, you get the cash, and when you got enough, okay, we'll do another God is Dead. We'll do God is Not Dead 12.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't begrudge them doing their God's Not Dead movies. I say go for it. I'm happy to see that, even though I'm an atheist, because I honestly believe that the freedom of religion is the freedom to think.
oh yeah, and like that. Dumb movies are made all the time.
Yes.
And that's why, like I said as well, was saying earlier, it's like, you don't have Hollywood taking a chance on movies like they used to in the past on something like a movie that I like, Surf Ninjas. The movie that starred Leslie Nielsen, Tone Loc, Ernie Reyes Jr., Ernie Reyes Sr., and had Rob Schneider in it.
Rob Schneider.
Like, it was just a dumb, fun movie.
Yes. Dumb fun movies are good too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you something. I guarantee you, if you can get one of these Christian filmmakers to do a horror film, a low budget horror film, in the neighborhood of these days, I'd say about $1 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
You can get them to do that, and don't complain when they don't make it too bloody. And if they can refrain from making it a Satan and bad sermon, and still maintain their Christian values and not showing a bunch of drugs, sex, and whatnot, they're going to make a hell of a good movie, because all they have to rely on is a good story.
Mhm.
Well, you can still do that.
It'll be just like keeping their budget low so they don't get too caught up in visual effects. George Lucas.
They could easily do a movie like The Prophecy.
Yeah.
It was
that-
a good movie.
Now, see,
Yeah,
I think they should avoid anything that's supernatural.
I mean, you can still do a horror movie without. Psychological horror still counts as horror. Like, have
Yeah.
somebody going through a mind trip.
Yeah, you could, but
You know,
I say keep it as simple as possible. If see, my concern is once you get into the supernatural stuff, you're looking at increasing the effects budget.
do you remember, Mitch? Do you remember the movie The Pit?
Yeah, I've seen bits of it on Red Letter Media.
All right, so the
What's it?
concept of The Pit was a twofold concept. They were trying to say originally they kind of smushed two movies together, and it came out a bloody mess. But the initial movie was that the boy was crazy as fuck,
Yeah,
and that's why you see like him talking to the teddy, and it was supposed to be that that's just his other personality, like his psychosis acting up, and that was he's supposed to be the killer, like the initial killer, like it was supposed to be all him doing it.
right.
And then they smushed the Trollocs of the pit into it.
Yes.
But if you focused on like him going crazy and having him being the killer, he's the killer, because again, two split personalities, it's still a horror movie.
Yep.
And
But
you don't
you can-
show the gore.
You can do a good solid horror film without guts. You will need blood. If you find a cheap location to shoot and you find up and coming actors, but make sure they're talented and don't skimp on your cinematography and whatnot.
No, don't Neil Brain it.
Right. Exactly.
Hmm.
And all you need is the suggestion of a wound. You don't need to disembowel someone to kill them. All you need is the blood stain on the shirt, some blood on the ground.
Oh,
And
the
that's
first Saw
suggestive
movie.
enough. The rest is filled in with the viewer's imagination. Learn from Psycho, Black Christmas from 1974, and Halloween from 1978.
I got one better
Those
for you,
films
Mitch.
are very bloodless.
Mitch.
Yes.
Look
Saw,
at,
the first Saw.
What kind of salt?
The very first Saw movie. Very little blood.
Oh yeah.
well, I was gonna say I just finished rewatching again the 1994 version of The Stand, and that is excellent when it comes to um, injury without excessive um, special effects.
Yeah,
Maybe.
sometimes the implication of an act is far more scarier than actually seeing the act.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that makes Halloween so scary is all the time Michael spends stalking Laurie. The
What
stuff
movie was that?
that makes Psycho so frightening is that we spend a hell of a lot of time with this main character. I think her name was Marion. And suddenly she gets killed. So, okay, she's not our main character. What the hell just happened? That's the shower scene.
I got
We're
one
like
for you.
30, 40 minutes into that movie. And that happens. And now we're switching gears. And Alfred Hitchcock was brilliant about doing that, by the way.
Hmm.
He really knew
Psycho,
how to
where
work
all
an
you
audience.
needed was some some chocolate syrup
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's because it was
on a
black and
shower.
white. Look at the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bloody movie at all.
I hated them.
Yeah, but
I got one better for you, Mitch.
discount its success and its a low budget and its good use of what it had to work with.
Mitch, I got one better for you.
What's that?
The tried and true message of show and don't tell works perfectly well in horror. Now imagine this scene. You're told explicitly that a character was like brutally murdered, or you see that the character's like murdered and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Versus the scene where all you see is the aftermath. Like you see the bloody shirt, you see the knife covered in blood, and then you see somebody like slamming a door or something closed,
Yeah.
which is far more terrifying.
Well, the implication is what's more frightening because, and I think this is what they've forgotten in Hollywood as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you see that scares you; it's what you imagine.
Yes.
because what your imagination comes up with is going to be far worse than anything they put on screen, and
That's
it's going to be personalized to your fears.
Yeah.
that's actually what I was gonna go to. Best um body reveal comes from my second favorite movie, which is Jaws.
Oh yeah,
Uh, what's her name? At the beginning of the movie, and all you really see is like a hand and some hair and some crabs crawling around,
yeah,
and it
It's
was
implication.
absolutely chilling.
yeah. Looking at the chat, Green Badger writes, "I thought Blair Witch was stupid. I almost walked out of that movie." That's one of the great things about the Blair Witch Project is that some of the fan theories that cropped up afterward, and the one I like is that the two guys were actually luring Heather out there to kill her
Mhm.
Oh,
the whole
That's
time.
oh my.
And if you watch it with that kind of a mindset, it changes the movie for you. Oh, plus
the
Blair Witch did a genius marketing campaign as well.
I was gonna say, sadly, the only thing I liked about the Blair Witch Project was all of the incredibly brilliant stuff they did before the movie actually came out, like the TV documentary
Yeah, it was
of
brilliant.
the
I think
Blair
they
Witch
did that on
Project.
$50,000.
I was just like, that was fantastic. It actually made me excited to see the movie. And then I saw the movie and I was like, I want to go watch the documentary again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Make it worth my while. But that was like Paranormal Activity. I hated that movie. It was so boring.
Oh, I
Ugh,
can't watch most of those. Blair Witch at least has the benefit of being out in the woods where the territory is unfamiliar. But when it's something like Paranormal Activity, it's like, oh, it's my bedroom. I know where everything's at. There's nothing dark and mysterious here. That's the door. The bathroom is just outside and to the left.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like I get lost in my house and wander into a closet and have a dump.
Ah.
You know, whereas out in the woods, you're in a situation you're cut off. You do what you got to do,
mm,
and
Is the unknown.
it makes
Like
you vulnerable.
yes. Again, implication, uh, not directly telling and location. Then again, there are some places in cities that can be fucking terrifying.
Yes, blind alleys, man. That's just as bad as being out in the woods.
Yeah.
Cut off, you have to shit. You do what you got to do. You know
You know, so again,
what's that
you can be
sound coming from the
terrified anywhere.
dumpster?
Yeah. Or you know, you gotta walk out and you just hear somebody walking behind you. You know? The
Oh, I
subtle
agree with
sounds of city. Go
the
ahead.
stream uncle.
What do you say?
I was already knee deep in Faces of Death and Traces of Death and knew that the hype of Blair Witch was BS and I wasn't buying it. I wasn't either. I knew. I was in fact rather annoyed at all the people who were telling me that it was real.
Yeah, it wasn't real.
Because my response to that was, yeah, they wouldn't put it on a big screen if it wasn't real.
if it was real.
Like even if it was found, like the implication of the newness of found footage movies, because we had what, two of those. We had
Well, Cannibal
Blair
Corpse.
Witch, Cannibal Corpse, Blair Witch, Paranormal Activity, and Cloverfield.
Oh, Cloverfield was the worst.
Yeah, because they teased this giant monster, and then you only see like an inch of it at the very end. And
No,
yeah,
the worst part of Cloverfield was um, every time the monster was about to come into view, you'd get you had the guy with the camera,
Oh yeah, you get wedding footage,
but there
or
would be
something.
another
like that.
character who would shout, "Did you see that?" And then the camera would turn to face the guy who shouted, "Did you see that?"
Oh yeah,
And
I
it
hate that
happened
too.
over
Uh,
and over again. And it's like, fuck you, movie. But that's
It,
J.J. Abrams taking the wrong lessons from someone else's success.
it was cock teasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was absolute shit.
Again, JJ doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, so
No, he's not a good filmmaker.
he is not.
At his best, he's good at starting an idea, but there's no middle and no end.
No, all right. He's if you give him boundaries, if you set him loose in a world with rules and constraints, he can do good shit. However, when he's on his own and he's free,
Well, so the other thing with
He-
Cloverfield as well was the fact that it was supposed to be based on a prior made, I think it was like manga or comic book or story or whatnot, and they just all fucked it up.
Oh, they always do.
Mhm.
But look at Lost. J.J. Abrams. Lost is okay. Gilligan's Island, but we're going to take it seriously, and it's not a boat; it's a plane. Go, and that was
It-
the limit of J.J. Abrams' involvement.
Gilligan's Island, and everyone's actually fucking dead.
Yeah, it just fuck that shit, man. You hear that Zack Snyder is being thrown back at Warner Brothers
Nope.
For
to
what?
do more Warner Brothers shit?
I'll be back in just a moment. Jesus, everything's
So in other words, they're gonna waste money. Got it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
they need another tax shelter.
Again, Zack Snyder is not good ideas, bad execution.
Well, not even bad execution. It's he's put into roles that he shouldn't be in. He should not be the head of a whole fucking franchise because he can't get past sniffing his own shit. He can't get past putting things in slow motion. He has to do it. It's like a tick. It's like a weird kind of Tourette's.
A weird kind of Tourette's. That's a nice way to put it.
It is, man. Same thing with Tim Burton.
Michael Bay
Everything's
and
gotta be
explosions.
kooky with Tim Burton. With Michael Bay,
Everything's
everything
gotta
needs to
dark
explode.
with Tim Burton.
What's
It's
that?
like
What'd you say?
Tim Burton forgot what light was.
What? Say that again, Angela. I didn't hear you.
I said, with Tim Burton, everything is dark. It's like the man forgot what light was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Not just
listens
that,
to
but
a
it's
lot of
kooky
typo
as well.
negative.
What?
And said he listens to a lot of typo negative, so he's got to fucking have everything be goth oriented.
Yeah.
Is it typo
And
negative or is it
he
someone
needs
else?
to stop putting his wife into everything. Helena Bonham Carter, please just let her go.
I mean, she's not a bad actress.
I was gonna say she's actually a really good actress.
Then why doesn't anyone else hire her?
Same point. Thank you, Mitch.
He didn't. She was put in, obviously the Harry Potter movies, but plus she was the one chick in Fight Club.
She
Yeah, but that was
also-
pre. That was pre.
No, I think she was married to Burton while doing the Potter thing. But I think Fight Club might have been before.
I think Fight Club was
also
before.
She was also Morgan Le Fay in the Merlin miniseries, and she did really well in it.
Yeah, because
And
she only had.
if you want honesty, I think the reason she doesn't do more work away from her husband is because he keeps her tangled up in his shit.
Probably.
Most likely.
And I think he does it on purpose because he's jealous because she's talented.
That might be.
That or
and
if the other thing as well is if he keeps her wrapped up in everything, most of the stuff they do together can also easily be made as a tax write-off
yes,
because
and
it's work related.
They can basically double dip too
Mhm.
against the budget. Same thing with Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon Zombie.
Mhm.
No one else is hiring her.
Yeah, but she can't act. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she makes Courtney Love look talented.
No.
Mm.
She can
Wow.
if you're gonna go with that whole thing, you had to remember it's like she can act. It's just badly.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like the whole thing. People be like, oh, you can't sing. No, you can still sing. You just don't sing well.
Well, and Rob Zombie's another one. He's a one-trick pony.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's loud, obnoxious, and white trash. That's his only trick.
Mhm.
He's the trailer park of Hollywood.
Mm.
And it's not always a bad thing, but it's not always a good thing either.
No, it's not. I mean, it works for it works. Sorry. Oh no, Eric. It's okay. Keep going.
I say what
You
it
okay?
works for something of like what House of a Thousand Corpses, but doesn't really work for something like
Right. It doesn't work for Halloween.
Halloween.
It doesn't work for. It
Thank
doesn't
you.
work for a property that isn't his.
That is one thing that my brother and I do not agree on. He loves the Rob Zombie version of Halloween.
Oh,
And
I think
I
it's absolute garbage.
very much do not.
Well, I mean, there is the variations and whatnot, and you can still enjoy things. It's
I
like
mean, I don't begrudge anyone enjoying it.
But I'm also allowed to judge you.
Yes.
I'm like, the one thing I liked about the Rob Zombie version of Halloween was Danny Trejo.
Oh, yeah. Well, Danny Trejo, he's like Bruce Campbell. He makes
Yeah.
everything he's in better.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he's
that
been
was
in
the only thing I
so
liked
much stuff
about-
with even just minor parts. He's been
Yeah.
had minor roles in fucking Charles Bronson films. He's had minor roles in Steven Seagal films.
Yep. Danny Trejo is a great example of someone who started as a that guy and turned into a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's a right to riches story. He was a criminal at
Yeah.
one point.
He's also that person that's like from everything it's been seen, that's like never said that he's above a specific role.
He had
like-
the Ethan Hunt method.
Because again, he was in the fourth Charles Bronson Death Wish. He was in, I can't remember which one of Steven Seagal movies. Hell, he's been in a fucking episode of Burn Notice.
he was a reoccurring character in Spy Kids.
Yep, as a good
He's a
guy.
recurring character on The Flash.
Yep.
I still like his whole
Uncle
stance
Machete.
that comparatively to a lot of others for a lot of things, it's like he's one of the few that says flat out for majority of things he doesn't do his own stunts. And his whole reasoning behind that is he's like, what have I got to prove by doing that, when it's like me doing that means someone else doesn't have a job.
Right.
Plus, he also likes the fact that he can also say, because of getting a full plaster of his head, whatnot, that he's the only actor he's aware of that had a complete copy of his head made that was to be decapitated and then placed on the back of a tortoise to wander the desert for a movie. I don't even know what movie it is. I just know that fact.
Let me tell you this about Rob Zombie's Halloween. In addition to what Angela said, the best part was casting Tyler Mane as Michael Myers as an adult. I think Tyler Mane did a fantastic job, and I think he was robbed by Rob Zombie. I think Tyler Mane's career could have gone even further if Rob Zombie knew how to make a good Halloween movie. What I think Rob Zombie did wrong was he destroyed the mystique around Michael Myers. He absolutely wrecked it. And that was the best part about him. Michael Myers' motives should never be clear.
Oh, yeah.
Should always be a mystery. And yeah, I've come up with motives that make sense.
Well, it's
But those motives are not for the audience to see. They're for the people writing the movies to see and understand, so that they can continue to tell a consistent story.
Well, it's like I really don't see a problem with like the audience knowing the potential motivations, or at least like the spark of a motivation. So without like, so they actually are given an idea, but like having the whole thing as if the rest of the cast had read the script for the movie
but the character themselves had read the script.
Right. That's another problem I had. It's what I hate about David Gordon Green's work with the Halloween so-called trilogy is the whole thing. Just like everyone read the scripts, and not only that, but read the credits of the entire franchise, because nowhere was Michael Myers referred to as the Shape except in the credits in the first movie.
Mhm.
But then, when in 2018, when that first movie released, that first David Gordon Green movie, drunk ass Laurie Strode comes barging into that restaurant, sucks down a gallon of wine off the table, well, a glass of wine rather, and says, "I saw him. I saw the Shape." And right there, my whole attitude is "fuck you, movie," because you don't do that. It's like when when a new person gets the job on Doctor Who to play the Doctor and introduces themselves as Doctor Who.
Yeah, they're just the Doctor.
Right.
You are just a doctor.
Hello, I'm Doctor Who. What? It would be like Swamp Thing saying, "Hello, I'm Swamp Thing."
Yeah.
No, that's not what you call it. It's what everyone else calls you. Dumbass.
Yes.
Dumbass screenwriter who doesn't know how to write dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I'm a fucking genius, but my God, you got to pay attention to things. And yes, all of this applies to video games too.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like it or not, a video game should be a narrative in a lot of cases. Not if it's Tetris.
Well, yeah.
Not if it's Battleship.
Yeah, not if
I
it's
don't need-
Pac-Man or Space
I don't need
Invaders.
not to be Battleship or Pac-Man.
The
or
thing is,
Cuba.
with Space Invaders, you have all the story you need in the title of the game.
Yes.
Pac-Man still told enough of a story that you could make a cartoon based off of it.
I wouldn't say it told a story. It demonstrated characteristics, and then they built around that. But
I
yeah,
was
Yes.
just teasing.
Well,
no,
they
you're kind of right
did,
though.
they did make a Pac-Man RPG, so I guess there is enough story from that if you want to consider that Pac-Man.
I mean, Pac-Man's story when they go into like the animated series and whatnot. I say series like it was a cartoon. There's a difference. It was basically Popeye and the Spinach. It was Pac-Man and the Power Pellets.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there was something you could work with there to make a half-ass story, and that's all they did was half-ass stories.
hmm
They did it with a Rubik's Cube too, for fuck's sake. Not the Power Pellet thing, but they made a cartoon.
I mean, don't forget for Pac-Man, they did make a song
I
for
don't
it.
remember that one.
Pac-Man Fever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. I don't want don't if I think about that too hard, I'm gonna look up the fucking song and I'm gonna want to frown at a kitten.
Frown at a kitten.
Yeah, you ever get so upset you want to frown at a kitten?
No, but at least you didn't say punch a baby.
Well, because I try not to be violent, especially toward the innocent. So, it's okay if I cuss at a nun, I guess. But they've got to understand that entertainment is supposed to be entertaining. That's the first rule. And there are things you can do, like if you reboot Halloween, if you reboot Friday the 13th, you have to respect the existing canon without but that doesn't mean you can't do new things. You can do new things, but you have to respect what came before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind you break. I wouldn't if you just said like this is a side story. It's not connected to the main canon. This is just my take.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
This is just my version of events.
Well, it's like respecting the canon is important. I've done what do you call them? Theory crafting, I guess, fan crafting even, when it
Mhm.
comes to rebooting a show like The Greatest American Hero or Airwolf. Let's use Airwolf. I think it's a little more popular, a little more
Damn,
well
let's
known.
put Airwolf.
But if you reboot a show like Airwolf, you don't ignore what came before. You make it a continuation of the story. But
So like wait a minute.
But you
So
also
like
don't shit
Kung
on
Fu
the
continues.
original.
exactly, Rotten. What was that, Tier?
So like Kung Fu and Kung Fu the Legend continues where it's built on the
Yeah, it uses the first television series as a foundation.
yes.
So in a new Airwolf series, we're not going to have a Stringfellow Hawk or a descendant of Stringfellow Hawk. We're not going to have a descendant of Santini. We're not going to have a descendant of Michael Goldsmith Briggs III.
Mhm.
They're going to be all new characters, but those original characters and their story / adventures existed in this universe. But they, like the show, they took place in the 80s with a ultra high tech attack helicopter. Cool. That's your
This was the
foundation.
stuff bomber.
So we do a new show called Airwolf. We give it a funny little title like Airwolf: The New Beginning, or Airwolf Retribution, or Airwolf. Ooh, look, it's more Airwolf, or Airwolf Airwolfer.
No.
Airwolf barks louder.
Yeah, but you make it clear that it's a distinct series. But instead of a helicopter, we twist things up a bit, and we have an attack fighter that is capable of VTOL it's like a next gen VTOL thing where it can hover and everything like a helicopter, but it doesn't have rotor blades. It's more
Okay.
like it could still do like your Mach 2, Mach 3 speeds if necessary, but it doesn't use rotor blades. It's using a VTOL system, vertical takeoff and landing.
Mhm.
But it's next gen, so that the ship can actually hover like a helicopter, and it can run silent and all that stuff. It can do all that stuff too.
Yeah, instead of using like you said, a prop or even a turbo prop, it's more likely using like a form of jet engine.
Yes. You know, just as a for example, if we want to compare it to something, maybe it's using something like the Iron Man repulsor technology,
Mhm.
something like that. So it's not necessarily using a liquid or solid fuel. But it does run on a its power source is a miniature nuclear reactor.
Well,
So
I'm
you know,
fine with that as long as we actually
we've-
get some more nuclear reactors going as
What's
well. I said as long as we get some more nuclear reactors going as well, so everyone can use
that's
them.
why I chose that actually. Is because nuclear am good. So
Yeah.
this new Airwolf can't it's not a polluter.
Mhm.
But yeah, you know, you still got to arm it, you still got to reload it.
Yeah.
Another change I'd make the cannons would be center line, while the missiles would be outboard. Because in the original, the cannons were outboard, and that's a bad design.
Yeah.
While the missiles were center line.
Well, you'd
If
probably
you
put
understand what I mean.
depending on what you're going to do for a plane thing like that, you're going to want some if you're trying to drop and not launch bombs, you're going to want some of the bombs center line. That could still be missiles.
Well, if they're bombs, yes.
But you're predominantly going to want your gun center line, because if you have to do any aerial fighting, you don't want it going, on the outside of them.
Well, yeah, you don't want to shoot wide, and if your targeting system goes down, if it's center line, you can still kind of aim by sight.
Oh yeah, the oh god, and I can't remember what it's called. I just rewatched the freaking episode of it from Fat Electrician, where like one dude has what he calls it the rivet gun, and it's not actually because it's it's like a rivet line gun or whatnot, but quite literally, it's like if his actual sight goes down, or no, it wasn't even for that specific gun, he would aim by matching up the rivet line with what he was going to shoot.
Yes. I agree, Green Badger. The missile should still be in a weapons bay, but they shouldn't take the centerline position on the ship. That should be for the cannons,
Hmm.
for the aiming purposes, like we were discussing. Now, with this show, what's the one thing we can do to immediately tie it to the original and get the fans on board? Spend the $32.95 for the license for the original music, for the original theme music, and you start playing that,
Hmm.
That would
and
be
you're going to get potential fans standing up getting on their feet and cheering.
Shit, you know what you can do? What
that
else you can do?
was
Okay.
Go on, Angela.
that was actually one thing that they did fantastic with the Fall Guy movie.
Oh, yeah.
The last the end credits was all scenes from the movie. The actual stunt people doing the stunts done to the Unknown Stuntman song from the
From the original?
original series.
Yeah, so you use the original music. You don't do a disco version. You don't do a hip hop version. Just take the original fucking music. Spend the $16 for the license
Well, you can
and run with it.
sometimes
You're
do
going to
things
get
like
so
that.
many fucking fans on your side immediately.
Because like the only one I haven't liked for their opening theme song in a lot of cases is the 2003 Ninja Turtles, because I've been on like a Ninja Turtles kick again, and I'm watching the 2012 series. But like they still have the original song in there. They have an 8-bit version as their shell cells, so their cell phones.
Yeah.
That's their standard one. And then when they do a thing of how there's like the different universes of the Ninja Turtles, and they have as close as they can get to how the original 1986 one or 1987 cartoon was, like they have actual guitared, just minus the words of the original theme song for Ninja
Right.
Turtles.
Yeah. Do you remember the movie Wayne's World?
Yes.
Mhm.
When that's a great example of what you want to avoid when it comes to the music for something like this. Because when they went from cable access to network show,
Hmm.
the network fancified their fucking theme tune,
Hmm.
and it was just absolute trash. It was over stylized, and that's what I worry about. That's why you use the original tune.
Yeah.
So no disco, no hip hop, and certainly do not hire your wife's brother's son's girlfriend's cousin's band
College
to do
former
the song.
roommate.
What? I can't hire my college roommate to do the music.
Unless they can actually play it the way the original
Yeah.
sounded, no.
Yeah, well,
it'd be
that's why, like
cheap.
I said, there are some that you can get away with, but if it's something that's like, okay, Ninja Turtles has had a series basically no more than like 10 years,
Right.
because it went the from the original to the one to where, yeah, they didn't have that, but it still had a good homage, even though it went closer to the comic, even though it was still on like 4Kids TV. But if you have something like Airwolf that hasn't had a new series since when did it come out originally?
It was
Oh,
in
God.
the early 80s.
And
Way
probably
before our time,
and
probably.
probably wrapped up still in the 80s, if not the early 90s.
It wrapped up in the 80s.
Okay, so wrapped up in the 80s. And it's 2024. Yeah. We're talking something that hasn't been that way. Yeah, you definitely want to have like go through the process to bring the original fans in.
Yep. And it's such an important touch. You have to get it. You have to get the existing and original fans on your side, and that's what the modern audience argument ignores.
Mm-hmm. And see,
A
I
lot
would
of modern
I would
I
still
want a
wager
full, I want
that
a full audience.
yeah, I would still wager that like you could do a new intro song and even a revision, but then you still have to have that classic original somewhere in there.
Well, see, with
And I would think for
Airwolf,
the credits it would be the best.
in the case of Airwolf, that piece of music is fucking timeless. It holds up today. You could play that same theme right now, and shit would be better as a result. It's that good. But I would
Okay.
take it further and spend another $17.95 and use the incidental music throughout from the original as well,
Mhm.
because it's such a dumb little thing, but having the whole audience on your side like that, holy shit. And then you can take a few chances at that point without without fucking yourself like the Acolyte did or the Rings of Power did.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe our main character is female. Okay, they're female helicopter or fighter pilots or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Don't put down the male though. Don't make her
Yeah.
suffer.
Don't do it as a piece of feminist trash.
Yeah, that's why I said you don't have it shit on the original series.
Right. Exactly. I mean, the original series had female pilots. And Caitlin, what's her face, and Santini's niece. When the series moved from CBS to the USA Network.
Yeah, it was basically what was I gonna say? It was basically a pseudo military version of Battlestar Galactica.
What was?
Airwolf, where you had the people it was set in current air quotes times.
Yeah.
But it was a situation where the women were equally positioned as the men in the roles.
Yes.
You know what modern
Except
Hollywood
for
forgets?
specialist expertise. I mean, that's where. But that's anything. That's where difference always exists.
But that's also because the women in the show were younger.
Yes. I mean,
But
go on here.
I'm about to say, you know what modern Hollywood forgets? That we're symbiotic species. We need each other.
Yep.
And you can't again, we need each other. So there's gonna be times where we're working together. Why not have a male female team? Two pilots that work together.
Well, they do.
Don't have them overshadow each other.
And that whole thing,
Shit.
it all depends on the series and whatnot, because there are a lot of series where that works, but then there's some other series where they're like, no. Like again, I will go back to the whole thing for the Ninja Turtles. Other than the one live action dumbass series of it, pretty much one of the biggest things that's been from the creators is there will be no fucking female turtle.
Fair enough.
It is the four brothers.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but that's because they
Power
were
Rangers.
they were created at the same time during a specific event.
Yeah.
To turn around and add a female turtle is to say that the event was not a singularity, which it was declared in the original material that it was a singularity.
Depending on the canon, the four brothers are reincarnations along with their master. Master Splinter is actually reincarnation of the father.
That's if you go with I want to say
the IDW comics.
Yeah, the IDW comics.
All right, but you can also still have a female turtle, long as she wasn't one of the original four. So, because you have shit like Bebop and Rocksteady, who were created literally like after they created the Turtles. Fucking Baxter Stockman turns into the fly creature again after the turtles. So it's not that it's a singularity or
Not
event.
quite the
Just don't have.
same.
Green Badger has proven my point about the Airwolf theme. Damn it, Mitch! Now I'm going to have the Airwolf theme stuck in my head. That's the point. That's exactly what I'm saying. It is good, and it still holds up. I don't know why Hollywood has to make everything such a fucking chore.
Well, that's like they've never said for the Ninja Turtles like you can't add other turtles. It's just the whole thing has been there's always been a couple people trying to push to have a fifth member added to the group, and that being a chick turtle.
Yeah,
And it's that
No.
one thing that but like they've always wanted to have it be that it's a weird thing in there because okay, in the current or in the 2012 series, the CGI one that was done on Nickelodeon, they do a fifth turtle. It's Slash. That's voiced by Corey Feldman.
Shit.
But
Do you remember?
He doesn't
but-
stay. He like later on he becomes he does become friends with the group and everything, but he does not become part of the turtles.
Yeah, that's the idea I'm getting at. Like with the the other creatures, Bebop Rocksteady, you can still have a turtle was created, that is female. There were female animals, or not female, but creatures people that were turned.
Mutants.
A film, yeah, mutants. Some of them were female, so you could have a reptile. Maybe they were trying to do the honeypot track, and they turned a female turtle, hoping to break up the brothers.
That or because since it does sci-fi and science fiction, you could always have it be a different species from another fucking planet.
Hell yeah, there you go.
And
We had
to answer
had
Roman
Ultron.
Ort's question, like I've only seen the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty, and it's just it's okay. I don't think it's got the hype some people
I've
used to have with it.
I've never watched that.
I don't like
Be
Rick and
glad.
Morty. Rick and Morty depresses me.
Rick
I
and Morty
agree.
has its moments and whatnot, and it at least for I would say the first 2 seasons doesn't take itself overly too serious. But like some other shows, there's a problem with some of the fans.
Yeah, the fans are what ruined.
Well,
that
it's not
series.
all of the fans. It's typically a smaller subset.
Enough of them.
Yeah.
I got about halfway through the first season and I wanted to open my wrist. So, yeah.
So it's
It's
doing
like-
its job.
So like
Got it.
that's what I think. It's like Rick and Morty doesn't bother me, but it's like I also have watched quite a few seasons of BoJack Horseman, and that fucking show is depressing.
Well, thank you for letting me know I don't want to watch that.
Well, it's got its ups and downs.
That's not that bad.
It's just never been my. If
Yeah.
we're still talking about Rick and Morty, it's just never been my thing.
Yeah.
Again, I don't begrudge anyone what they like. Like what you like,
Yeah.
man.
Like the biggest
If you
thing for
like it, dig
BoJack
into
Horseman, just like Rick and Morty, and that whole thing is like Rick is the fucking not arbiter, but like pretty much the sole cause of majority of his own, is like of 90% of his own problems.
Yeah.
And BoJack's the exact same way. So it's basically seeing people that are starting to get somewhere, and then they'll get to a specific point, and then
They fuck themselves.
they fuck
over.
themselves over because they either get bored or they're not used to that much success or that much happiness or something. So they self-sabotage.
Oh no! Now I've got another concept for a TV show.
What's that?
Well, it's a spin on an idea. Because you have shows like Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Mm-hmm.
where you have a normal person going out and hunting down demons, monsters, ghosts, etc., etc. But what if we have a show where it's a supernatural? Maybe not a supernatural. Oh no, it has to be supernatural. Where it's a vampire, for example, for lack of a better word.
Forever Night.
No. We'll get there, but that's not it.
Okay.
where we have a vampire
All right.
and or whatever. Maybe it's a vampire, maybe it's a fallen angel. And when I say fallen, I don't mean into hell. I mean fallen from heaven to earth.
Mm.
Okay.
And the angel's given the task at that point of seeking out and destroying monsters. But the twist is the angel's not really fighting anything supernatural. The angel is up against ordinary people
Hmm.
who are monsters, serial killers, rapists, fucking
Idiot.
corrupt government. I mean, there's all kinds of things that ordinary people do that are monstrous.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
So
But, you know,
essentially, it's like
It's like the A-Team, but it's one guy.
no, it's like
It's the
Ghost Rider.
equal-
Yeah, kind of like Ghost Rider, actually. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Clown. Buffy was chosen and not normal.
And technically,
But-
if you go through like past the first couple, it's like what 7 or 8 episodes in, you start finding out that like there's more to Sam than there is to Dean. But then later on, that it's like season 3, I think it is, that Dean's actually supposed to be the vessel for Michael. Sam's supposed to be the vessel for Lucifer. So the two angels can have a vessel to fight to have the apocalypse.
So in other words, they're trying to stem the tide of a shitty existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Green Badger. Sort of like A New Highway to Heaven, but instead of just floating around doing good deeds, it's an action adventure show. And a mystery show as well, and a thriller.
It's like
all
the
that stuff.
equalizer, only the equalizer is an angel instead of an old
Yeah.
cop.
Well, yeah, instead of a former CIA operative. I think that would be a pretty fun show, but you have to put restrictions on the angel. Maybe the angel fell from heaven to earth because angel broke a rule. And and heaven's bureaucracy in its infinite wisdom strips the angel of most of the angel's powers. So, you can't fly, can't play a harp and destroy a building or anything like that.
Hmm.
So the angel has to rely solely on its wits and knowledge that it has from being in heaven and being able to basically like a super / hyper intelligent, but without any of the angel superpowers that would separate it from humans. And of course it can die. So it's basically human with a heavenly knowledge that it can call upon to, here's how to get this type of person to react and that kind of thing.
Well,
So
you
there'd
could
be an
probably-
element of Lie to Me or what's that one with not Thomas?
Oh, so you could
Jane,
probably have a little bit of supernatural as like powers they have, but it wouldn't be anything major.
Yeah, it would be something that you can do without. See, the reason I want to restrict all that shit on both sides on the good guy's side and the bad guy's side is because once you start engaging in a bunch of that shit, your budget's going up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep a budget low so we can have a show that can Celestial Burn Notice. There you go.
Mm,
But I was gonna say it's been like 2 hours, so I think we're gonna call it.
Oh, all right.
You'll be able to find Tyrion Rich tomorrow doing the Minions,
Oh,
and then you'll find Angela on Mr. Adams AJ's Retro Arcade.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, you'll be able to catch all 3 of them on
Never Watch Alone.
Never Watch
Never
Alone
Watch
on
Alone.
Thursday. Tears Show on Saturday, and instead of doing the next National Treasure movie, we're gonna do Dead 7 next Sunday.
Groovy.
yay.
The sci-fi zombie movie that stars Nick Carter, Carrie Keegan, Joey Fatone, Jeff Timmons, a metric fuck ton of like some pop and stars and like not, and like Nick Carter is apparently one of the fucking writers for this. I was surprised. It's a dumb, fun movie, in my opinion, for a zombie. But we're going to get out of here, so I got to get over to OBS. Have a good one, everyone.
Go
Ship it out.
see go see Fall Guy or stream it, whatever. It's out by now.
Also,
Fall
go.
Guy, great movie. Check it
Also,
out.
since there was the thing in the GoFundMe for it and everything, go watch the original Never Hike Alone.
Oh yes,
Go
Mhm.
watch our
I watch all of them.
Never Watch Alone, and then watch the
Never
original
Hike Alone.
Never
Yeah.
Hike Alone.
Mhm. There you go.
All right, so everyone have a good night. Laters.
Rock on.
Laters.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Join us again next week, or you can check out the other people in the panel in the description and see us again plausibly on one of their channels, or just check out what work they've done. Have a good week, everyone.